All right, welcome back to The First Trade. Buying a car from a traditional dealership during the health pandemic continues to be next to impossible. That is, unless you are clicking on the buy button online at Carvana. Let's bring in Carvana Founder and CEO Ernie Garcia. Ernie, good to see you again here. Listen, dealerships across the country, traditional dealerships remain closed. How has your business been doing during the pandemic?
So, I think this has resulted in so much change for so many people. And I think as one of many disruptive businesses out there, we are benefiting from all the change in habit that we're seeing in the world. So we're seeing a lot of customers that are choosing to start their journey of buying a car online, and they're coming to Carvana.com.
So you have an interesting business model, Ernie. People can't go out and test drive cars right now. But even before the pandemic, your business model is such where somebody can get the car, and then I guess test drive it for up to a few days or a week and still be able to return it for full money back? How does that work?
Sure. So the way Carvana works in general is you go to our website. We've got 11, 12,000 cars on the site today. It's been as high as 30,000 in the past when we weren't experiencing so much demand that we're experiencing today. You go through, you buy the car, we deliver it to your door, and then you get a 7-day return policy. If you want to, you can test drive it right there with a Carvana employee and advocate who will sit and wait while you drive the car around your neighborhood. You could return it then, or you can keep it for up to 7 days and return it later. And we think that's a better way for customers to get to experience the car, see if it really fits their life, and that replaces the traditional test drive.
What's the rate of people actually returning the cars? I mean, there have been some reviews online where folks have not been really happy and satisfied with the cars after they've had them for a few days. And how do you, if that number is high, how do you make money?
Sure. Well, so I would start with this. We've got an NPS score of about 82. If you look over the life of the company, our average rating is 4.7 stars. That significantly exceeds anything in the industry and virtually all consumer experiences across other retail verticals as well. So on average, customers do absolutely love it. They save money, they get a broad selection, the cars delivered to them, they have time to decide if it fits their life. But undoubtedly, customers sometimes get a car and they decide, my golf clubs don't fit in the back, or my coffee mug doesn't fit in the cup holder, and they want to return it for whatever reason. If they'd like to, then we go pick it up and we take it back. And then, that ends up happening a relatively small percentage of the time. Less than 10% of the time customers make that choice. When they do, half those customers just swap it for another car. And those economics work out very well for us. What's important is we make sure that we photograph the car in 360 degrees up front so customers know exactly what they're going to get. And then we make sure that we bring that car up to the highest certified standards. So when the car shows up, it's in great shape and the customer is unlikely to want to return it. And that's how the numbers play out.
Ernie, I caught a pretty interesting stat from your last earnings call. Your business had a pretty sharp turnaround towards the end of May, up sales up 20 to 30%. What drove that, and has that continued?
Sure. Well, so, we're a 7-year-old company. We launched in 2013. Since then, we've more than doubled every year. And I think, this pandemic was the first time where we ever saw sales negative year over year, very early in the pandemic when the whole economy was kind of shut down. But it did rapidly turn around. We're a growth company. We're entering new markets all the time. We opened over 100 markets in May. So we've been bringing our offering nationwide very quickly. And then we've seen consumer behavior shift in this direction of, wanting to check things out online, wanting to buy things in a safer way. And so we did see a lot of growth that showed up in late April and into May, and has continued.
Ernie, what are you seeing in terms of consumer behavior when it comes to being able to pay off their car? Are people falling behind on payments? Are we seeing a resurgence in subprime loans when it comes to auto buying?
So I think we're at a really interesting moment in time as it relates to consumer credit. I think consumer credit across the board in auto, and I think in many other consumer credit areas as well, has performed incredibly well over the last several months. I think there's been so much stimulus put back into the economy. Unemployment has been increased, and across many states, consumers are actually making more in unemployment than they were making before when they weren't unemployed. So we're in this moment in time where I think the difficulty in the economy is not yet showing up in consumer credit performance. I think we're being vigilant about that. I think probably lenders everywhere are being vigilant about that and trying to understand exactly how this will unfold over the next 6 to 12 months. But so far, consumer credit's held up very well.
Ernie, I've seen a couple estimates out there on the street suggesting that the business will finally turn a profit in 2022. Does that sound right to you?
We're a public company. We got to stay away from answering those questions too directly. As I said, we've been growing really fast. The core business has been operating incredibly well. That growth has cost money. So as a full company, we have not made money yet, but we believe that's on the horizon. We're just not going to give you an exact date.
What are you selling the most of? Are they, what type of car are you selling the most of right now? SUVs, trucks?
So undoubtedly, SUVs and trucks are in very high demand. I think with gas prices lower, there's a lot of demand for that. But it's across the board. I think people, when they look at Carvana, they assume that we're probably selling, electric cars to millennials. And the truth is, we're selling cars across all different age demographics. The mix of gender is about 50-50. We have a split across the board that looks a lot like the average car buyer. And so, people are buying virtually any kind of car on Carvana.
Ernie, the traditional dealership, will that still exist coming out on the other side of the pandemic? I mean, I'm trying to get a sense of how many dealerships will simply not exist anymore.
So there's a lot of dealerships in the U.S. There's probably, depending on the way you're counting them, on the order of 40,000. That number was probably on the order of 70,000 if we go back in time, 10 or 15 years. So there has been slow but steady consolidation in the industry over a long period of time. I think, forecasting the future is difficult for anyone at any point in time, but that consolidation is probably likely to continue to some degree. At the same time, the market is absolutely enormous. There's 40 million used cars sold per year. There's another 15 million new cars sold per year. So that infrastructure that has served consumers for a long time is broad. It's distributed across the country. It's valuable infrastructure. While many consumers today are choosing to go online and buy a car in that way and have it delivered to their door, there are still those consumers out there that prefer to go to a physical dealership and do it the traditional way. And so I think there's likely to be consolidation over time. I think the speed at which that will occur is hard to forecast.
All right, we'll leave it there. Ernie Garcia, Carvana founder and CEO. Good to see you. And actually, before we let you go, what kind of car do you drive?
I drive a Volvo, actually. Safety first.
Okay, fair enough. Had to ask. All right, we'll see.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day wherever you are.